Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
miss.
Good afternoon. Turn on your videos. Okay, you can type your attendance now. Mark your attendance. Okay, shall we start?
Good morning, miss.
Good morning.
Yes,
Good evening, miss.
Where my
Good
book?
afternoon.
Good afternoon, miss.
Okay.
അവൻ ആദ്യം ഗുഡ് ആഫ്റ്റർനൂൺ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് പിന്നെ ഗുഡ് മോർണിംഗ് ആക്കി.
Then today we are moving to our new lesson. Not new lesson, new poem. Where my books go. Okay. It is also included in the fifth lesson. And where my books go. This is a small poem written by W.B. Yeats, page number 40. Okay, all of you take page number 40. Where my books go. This poem is written by W.B. Yeats, one of the most famous poet. You can see the profile of W.B. Yeats in your textbook, backside of your textbook. Yes, page number 133. A short profile about W.B. Yeats. All of you turn on your videos. Okay. Now, W.B. Yeats was a poet and a playwright. He was born in Dublin, Ireland, and he was very proud of his Irish roots. Many Irish legends and heroes are featured in his poems and plays. He won Nobel Prize in Literature in 1923. Some of his famous poems are Easter, Sailing to Byzantium, and Lake Ayalov in Innisfree. These are the works. This is a short profile about W.B. Yeats, and he is a poet and playwright born in Dublin, and he won Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923, and his famous works are Easter, Sailing to Byzantium, Lake Ayalov in Innisfree. This is a small profile about W.B. Yeats, who wrote the poem Where My Books Go. Okay. Shall we start the poem? A small poem.
Yes. Yes, miss.
All the words that I utter and all the words that I write must spread out their wings untiring and never rest in their flight till they come where your sad heart is and sing to you in the night beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright. Okay. In this poem, the poet says about the power of his words. Okay, we can say the power of words. Poet wishes that all the words that I utter. Okay, who is that?
Camera on stuck clearly.
Okay. Others, please turn on your videos. Yes. All the words that I utter. I utter means say, speak. Okay. Clear ആവുന്നില്ലേ?
നല്ല ക്ലിയർ ആണല്ലോ. നോ പ്രോബ്ലം.
ക്ലിയർ ആണ് മിസ്.
Okay. All the words that I utter. Utter means to say. Okay. All the words that the poet says. The line means all the words that the poet says. Okay. Utter means to say. And all the words that I write. Then the poet says that all the words that the poet write must spread out their wings untiring. Yes. Poet says that poet compared his words to the wings of a flying bird. Okay. Poet compares his words to the wings of a flying bird. And he says that like the wings of a flying bird, all the words he utter or all the words he write fly without any tiredness. Untiring means without getting tired. Okay. These words.
പറയുമ്പോ മിസ്സിന്റെ വോയിസ് പോകുന്നു.
ഇല്ല മിസ്സേ, ഇല്ല 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 കുഴപ്പമില്ല.
കട്ടാവുന്നില്ല മിസ്സേ, ക്ലിയർ ഉണ്ട്.
എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇത് പ്രോബ്ലം ഉണ്ടോ?
ഇല്ല മിസ്സേ, ക്ലിയറാ ക്ലിയറാ.
ഫ്ലോർ ക്ലിയർ ഉണ്ട്.
Okay, sometimes that will be your network problem. Okay, Sri Vishnu. Yes. Then yes, the poet says that his words, like the wings of a bird, moves untiring. Okay. Is it clear?
ഇപ്പൊ ഓക്കെയാണോ മിസ്സേ?
Yes. The poet compares his words to the wings of a fly. Okay. And these wings move without any tiredness. That means the words uttered by the poet, words spoken by the poet, or the word written by the poet moves freely without any tiredness. Okay. And never rest in their flight. Yes, during the time of the flight, this words, these wings, poet compared his words to the wings of a bird. So we can say that the wings never rest during the time of flight. Flight means flying. Okay. Till they come where your sad heart is. Yes. The words take rest when they reach where your sad heart is. That means if we are sad, the poet's words uttered by the poet, or the words spoken by the poet or written by the poet comes to the minds, comes to the heart of the person who is extremely sad. You can see the word sad twice, two times.
Can I off my video for a sec?
Okay. Okay, is it clear? The words come to
Clear.
the heart of a person. That person is sad. Sad means very sad. Okay. The words written by the poet or the words spoken by the poet fly like a bird and reach to the person who is sad by heart. Okay. Is it clear?
Clear.
Yes. Up to that time, this flight never stops. This words didn't take a rest up to reaching that person, reaching that sad heart. Okay. And sing to you in the night. Yes, these words sing to you. The poet says that the words by the poet sing to you in the night. That means if you are sad, these words will sing for you. And beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright. This means the words by the poet brings joy to the readers. Okay. In very far off places. That means even it is in a starry bright or storm darkened or beyond the waters. in which we can say that in every place this words by the poet gives us happiness. Okay. In this poem, the poet speaks about the power of his words. The words fly like birds, okay, and then they reach to the minds of the person who is in a sad condition, and poet says that this word will sing for that person or sing for us. And in the last line you can see that the beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright. That means each and every place the words have the power to reach every place, like beyond the waters or storm darkened or starry bright. Okay. എവിടെയാണെങ്കിലും എന്താണ് ഈ വേർഡ്സിന് എത്താനുള്ള പവർ ഉണ്ടെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Okay. Even though it is beyond the water or storm darkened or starry bright. Okay, these are places mentioned. Even in these places the words are able to reach. The words uttered or written by the poet is able to reach even in these type of places. Is it clear?
Clear.
Yes,
Small,
miss.
yes, it's a small poem, and we can simply say that the poet expresses the power of words. Okay. The words by the poet can heal the sorrow or sadness of people with sad heart. Okay, sad heart. Okay.
മിസ് അവസാനത്തെ രണ്ടിലെ ഒന്നുകൂടി പറഞ്ഞു.
Beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright. This means these words by the poet brings happiness to everyone, every place. അത് എവിടെയാണെങ്കിലും എന്താണ് കടലുകൾക്കപ്പുറം ജലത്തിനപ്പുറമാണെങ്കിലും അതേപോലെ സ്റ്റോം ഡാർക്കൻഡ് എന്താ കൊടുങ്കാറ്റ് വരുന്ന ഇരുണ്ടടഞ്ഞ ഇതില്ലേ അതാണെങ്കിലും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ സ്റ്റാറി നൈറ്റ് സ്റ്റാറി ബ്രൈറ്റ് ഏറ്റവും പ്രകാശിച്ചു നിൽക്കുന്ന ഒരു എവിടെയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇതുകൊണ്ട് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത് എന്താണ് ഏത് സ്ഥലത്തും എന്താണ് ഈ വേർഡ്സിന് എത്തിപ്പെടാൻ പറ്റുന്ന പോയറ്റിന്റെ വേർഡ്സിന് എത്താൻ പറ്റും എന്നാണ് ഇവിടെ ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ഈ രണ്ട് ലൈൻ കൊണ്ട് അതാണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. എത്ര ദൂരത്താണെങ്കിലും അവിടേക്ക് എത്താൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് പോയറ്റിന്റെ വേർഡ്സിന് പറ്റും. Is it clear? Yes. Starry bright means starry bright എന്തായിരിക്കും ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവുക? Stars are in sky. Okay. Sky is in very distant place, isn't it?
നക്ഷത്രങ്ങള്.
That means stars are in sky. Very distant place, isn't it? These two lines expresses the distant places. Okay. Poet says that his words can reach into that distant places. Is it clear? Any doubt?
No, miss.
Okay. Then now we can move to our activities. First one, understand the poem. Read these lines and answer the questions. Till they come where your sad heart is and sing to you in the night. What is referred to as they here?
The words.
Words, very good. Words. They refer to here as words. They can reach means words can reach. Words. WORDS, words. Okay.
എഴുതി വെക്കണോ അതോ അയച്ചു തരുന്നതാണോ?
Now you can note that. Okay, this is very small answer, so you can write here words. What is referred to as they here? They referred to as words. WORDS, words. They referred to here words. Sri Vishnu, what are you
Miss,
saying? Anything to say? I
ഒന്നുമില്ല
can
മിസ്സേ.
see your lip movement.
ഒന്നുമില്ല മിസ്സേ. ഞാൻ ആ പ്രസന്റ് ഒന്ന് നോക്കിയെന്ന ദിവസം ഞെട്ടിപ്പോയി.
64%. Who is that?
എത്രയാ പ്രസന്റ്?
ആ ഞാനത് കണ്ടിട്ട് ഞെട്ടിപ്പോയി. ഇത് ആരുടെയാന്ന് പേര്
ഞാനും ഞെട്ടിപ്പോയി.
അതെ മിസ്സേ എത്രയാ ഉള്ളത്?
ഷാനീഫും അഫ്രാസും ഇടുന്നു.
എത്രയാ
Justice also.
അതെ എത്രയാ?
Don't play.
മിസ്സേ കൊറേ നേരം സ്ക്രോൾ ചെയ്യാൻ നോക്കിട്ട് പേര് കിട്ടുന്നില്ല.
Okay, don't play. You should type your name only once. Okay. Sir, നേരത്തെ തന്നെ inform ചെയ്തതല്ലേ അത്?
ആ മിസ്സേ.
Yes. So don't repeat this. Okay. Next one, second one. The word sad has been repeated twice by the poet. Why do you think he has done this?
അയാൾക്ക് ഭയങ്കര വിഷമായി കാണും.
Yes, we can say that the reader is very, very sad. So the poet repeat the word sad twice. Okay. Reader is very, very sad. Okay. Third one, when do the words sing to you? When do the words sing to you?
The words singers at the night.
Yes, the words sing at night. The words sing at night. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Then shall we move to the next one? Answer these questions. Then first one, what does the poet compare his words to?
The wings of the bird.
Which one, Sri Vishnu? Please say
Wings.
once. Wings.
Bird.
Yes. The poet compares his words to the wings of a bird that flies without getting tired. We can say that the poet compares his words to the wings of a bird. Sri Vishnu?
അല്ല മിസ്സേ സെൻഡ് ചെയ്ത് തരികയല്ലേ?
Yes. Wings of a bird that flies without getting tired. Okay, next question. How does the poet want his words to travel? How does the poet want his...
Tiring.
Which one?
And untiring.
Yes, his words spread their wings untiring. And how does the poet want his words to travel?
Beyond the sea.
Yes. Beyond the waters or storm darkened or starry bright. Which line tell us that the journey of the words is long?
Starry bright.
Yes, last two lines. Beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright. These lines denotes that the journey of the words is long. Okay.
ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആൻസേഴ്സ് എല്ലാം ഒന്നും കൂടി ഒന്ന്
I will send you.
അവസാനത്തെ ഇപ്പൊ പറഞ്ഞ
I will send you notes. Okay. Third, last question. Which line tells us that the journey of the words is long? Last two lines. Sri Vishnu, last two lines. Beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or starry bright. These lines denotes that. Sri Vishnu.
ഡെൽവിൻ ഞാനല്ല ചോദിച്ചേ ഡെൽവിനാ ചോദിച്ചേ അവൻ പോയി.
Okay, Delvin I think Sri Vishnu. Delvin ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ.
ഞാനത് പറയാൻ തുടങ്ങുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവൻ പോയത്.
Okay. Next, fourth one. What do the words storm darkened and starry bright refer in the poem? What do the words storm darkened and starry bright refer to in the poem?
Long distance.
Different, we can say different places. Okay, different places in the world. We can say that the words can travel to different places, even it is in the beyond the waters or storm darkened or starry bright. Okay, that means different places in the world. Okay, next one. Who is the poet addressing as you in the poem?
Reader.
Yes, readers. Poet addresses you as readers. We can see that when you are sad, that means when the reader is sad. Okay, you denotes the readers. Okay, is it clear?
Clear, miss.
Next one. Know the poem. Must spread out the wings untiring and never rest in their flight. Beyond where the waters are moving, storm darkened or the starry bright. W.B. Yeats has used the above lines to paint a picture of the journey of the words in the reader's mind. Such a description enables the reader to visualize the situation and relate with it. Such lines are examples of imagery. Poet uses imagery to describe ideas, things, or people in a way that creates a vivid picture in our minds. Okay, here you are going to study one more poetic device, that is imagery. Okay, what are poetic devices?
ഈ പോയത്തിനൊക്കെ കുറച്ചും കൂടി രസകരമാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന കുറെ വേർഡ്സ് അല്ലേ?
Yes, these are technique used by the poets in order to beautify the poem. Poetic devices. Can you give an example for one poetic device? We have studied some poetic devices in our previous poems.
Yes.
Yes, can you give an example for a poetic device? Poetic device.
Simile.
Yes, very good. Simile. Simile is an example for poetic device. Then any other?
Metaphor.
Metaphor. Okay, I think in this year you have studied simile and metaphor. Any other poetic device? Alliteration.
Alliteration. ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു alliteration.
Yes, alliteration. Yes, these are examples for figure of speech or poetic devices. Okay, we can say either this as figure of speech or poetic devices. Then here we are going to study imagery. Imagery is a poetic devices used by the poets. So we can see that there are 4 lines taken from this poem where my books go, and in this line the poet paint a picture of the journey of the words in reader's mind. That means we can imagine that. In our mind, we can imagine that, isn't it? Spread out their wings untiring and never rest in their flight. Imagine that the words are flying like birds. Okay. നമുക്കൊരു ചിത്രം കിട്ടൂലേ? We can imagine, isn't it?
ഇമാജിനറിയുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധമുണ്ട് ചിന്തിച്ചു കൂട്ടുന്ന സംഭവം ഉണ്ടല്ലോ.
Yes, we can imagine it in our mind. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മളോട് ഒരു പോയത്തില് ഒരു എന്താണ് ഒരു ഫീൽഡിനെ കുറിച്ചാ പറയുന്നതെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചോ, ഒരു വയലിനെ കുറിച്ചിട്ട്. അപ്പൊ എന്താണ് നമുക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ മനസ്സിൽ അത് കാണാൻ പറ്റൂലേ? ഫീൽഡ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോഴേ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ അതിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഒരു പിക്ചർ വന്നില്ലേ? Yes, that's an example for imagery. Okay, then imagery is also different types. Olfactory imagery, then auditory images and olfactory. There are different types of images. Sometimes we can feel that we can hear something. Okay, auditory imagery means that വിഷ്വൽ ഇമേജ് ആണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. വിഷ്വൽ ഇമേജ് എന്താണ്? നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്ന പോലെ തോന്നുന്നത്. ചില പോയംസ് ഒക്കെ വായിക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ നമുക്കത് കാണാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റൂലേ? ചില സൗണ്ട് എന്താണ്? ചില പോയംസിൽ ഒരു ബെല്ല് റിങ് ചെയ്യുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ആ സൗണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ഇമാജിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റില്ലേ? We can imagine that sound, ringing of a bell. We can feel that hearing in our ears. നമ്മുടെ ചെവിയിൽ അത് കേൾക്കുന്ന പോലത്തെ ഒരു ഫീൽ ചില പോയിന്റ്സിലൂടെ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടും. Okay, here you should study about only visual image. In this poem you can see visual image. You can imagine that the words flying over the sky. Okay, imagine that the words flying over the sky using its wings without untiring. Is it clear?
Clear, miss.
Okay. We can visualize that situation. Okay. Such a description enables the reader to visualize and relate with it. Such lines are example of imagery. These type of lines we can visualize and relate with that situation. Okay, that type of lines are called imagery in a poem. Poets use imagery to describe ideas, things or people in a way that create a vivid picture in our minds. Okay, storm darkened or starry bright. From this we can imagine starry bright, a sky that is filled with the bright stars. We can imagine that, isn't it? Yes or no? We can imagine a sky. Yes. While hearing this, we can imagine that sky. These type of words, these type of lines are known as we can see examples from examples of imagery from these lines. So here you can see poet use imagery to describe ideas, things or people in a way that creates vivid picture in our minds. Next, the activity, there is an activity for you. Work with your partner. Read this extract from the poem Daffodils by William Wordsworth. Okay, this is a poem written by William Wordsworth. This is a famous poem, Daffodils. Okay, anybody knows this poem? One of the most famous എന്താണ് പറഞ്ഞത്? ആരാ പറഞ്ഞത്?
അവിടെ കേട്ട പോലെ
ഉണ്ടെന്ന്.
Okay, okay. This is a famous poem written by William Wordsworth. Please listen carefully. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 I saw at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Okay. Why is the imagery used by the poet so interesting? You may talk about these points. Here in this poem, you can see many imageries. I wandered lonely as a cloud. I traveled lonely as a cloud. You can imagine cloud is moving on the sky. Okay. So we can say that this is an example for imagery. Wandered lonely as a cloud. നമുക്കത് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റൂലേ? ക്ലൗഡ്, ഒരു ക്ലൗഡ് എന്താണ്? ആകാശത്തിലൂടെ ഒറ്റപ്പെട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ പോകുന്നു എന്ന്. ഓക്കെ, ഒരു മേഘം. ഇസ് ഇറ്റ് ക്ലിയർ? നമുക്കത് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും? മനസ്സിലൊന്ന് ഇമാജിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റും. അത് കേൾക്കുമ്പോഴേ നമുക്കൊന്ന് ഇമാജിൻ ചെയ്ത് നോക്കാൻ പറ്റും. പിന്നെ എന്താണ്, അത് റിലേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി പറ്റുന്നു. Yes or no?
Yes, miss.
Yes. Then that floats over high over vales and hills. Yes, this cloud is moving over vales. Vales means valleys, moving over vales and hills. Okay, we can picturize that also. A cloud is moving over vales and hills. മലയുടെ മുകളിൽ കൂടെയും അതുപോലെ താഴ്വാരത്തിന്റെ മുകൾ ഭാഗത്തൂടെ എന്താണ്, ആകാശത്തിലേക്കൂടെ ഒരു ക്ലൗഡ് ഇങ്ങനെ മൂവ് ചെയ്തു പോകുന്നു. ഓക്കെ, അത് നമുക്ക് ഇമാജിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റൂലേ? We can imagine that. So we can see many imageries in this poem Daffodils, isn't it? When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Yes, here I means the poet. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Here the poet is wandering like a cloud that is floats over valleys and hills. And when all at once I saw a crowd. Crowd means a group, a host of golden daffodils. While traveling, this poet sees a host that is golden daffodils. Daffodils is a flower. Okay, you can see the picture. While traveling, the poet sees a host of daffodils. That is also an example for imagery, isn't it? We can imagine daffodils. Poet is walking alone like clouds, and in that way he saw golden daffodils. Is it clear? This poem is not for detailed study. This is for understanding imageries. Okay. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Yes, here the daffodils are beside the lake, near the lake, and beneath the trees, under the trees, and fluttering and dancing in the breeze, moving and dancing. These daffodil flowers are moving. Fluttering means moving and dancing in the breeze. All these things can be imagined in our mind, isn't it? ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ ഈ വരികൾ ഫുള്ള് നമുക്കൊന്ന് ആലോചിച്ച് നോക്കിയാൽ നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ഒരു പിക്ചർ പോലെ വരില്ലേ? എന്താണ്, പോയറ്റ് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് ഒരു ഒരു ലോൺലി ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ക്ലൗഡിനെ പോലെ ഇങ്ങനെ നടക്കുകയാണ്. എന്താണ് ഹിൽസിന്റെയും അതേപോലെ വാലിയുടെ ഒക്കെ മുകളിലേക്കൂടെ ലോൺലി ആയിട്ട് പോകുന്ന ഒരു ക്ലൗഡിനെ പോലെ പോയറ്റും ലോൺലി ആയിട്ട് പോകുന്നു. അപ്പൊ എന്താണ് പോകുന്ന വഴിക്ക് എന്ത് കാണുന്നു? ഗോൾഡൻ ഡാഫോഡിൽസ്. ഈ ഗോൾഡൻ ഡാഫോഡിൽസിനെ എവിടെയാണ് കാണുന്നത്? ലേക്ക് റിവറിന്റെ അടുത്താണ് കാണുന്നത്. അതെന്താണ്? കുറച്ച് മരങ്ങളുടെ അടിയിലായിട്ടാണ് കാണുന്നത്. ഇത് ഇങ്ങനെ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. മൂവിങ് ആൻഡ് ഡാൻസിങ് ഇൻ ദ ബ്രീസ്. കാറ്റിൽ മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ഒരു പിക്ചർ കിട്ടുന്നില്ലേ? മനസ്സിൽ കിട്ടുന്നില്ലേ? Can you imagine this? Yes or no?
We can imagine.
Yes, we can see an image. Okay, then continues as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Okay, then as the stars that shine and twinkling on the Milky Way. Yes, these flowers are continuous like the stars that shine in the Milky Way. Or twinkling means brightening or shining in the Milky Way, in the galaxy. In the sky we can see stars, like the stars twinkling or shining in the Milky Way. These flowers are continuously spread in that area. Okay, ഈ ഫ്ലവേഴ്സ് ഇങ്ങനെ പരന്ന് കിടക്കുകയാണ്. ആ ഒരു ഇമേജ് പോയിട്ട് എക്സ്പ്രസ് ചെയ്യാണ്. അപ്പൊ എന്താണ്? സ്റ്റാർസ് ദാറ്റ് ഷൈൻ. ആ സമയത്ത് തന്നെ എന്താണ്? ആകാശത്ത് നക്ഷത്രങ്ങൾ പ്രകാശിക്കുന്നത് പോലെ ഈ ഫ്ലവേഴ്സ് ഇങ്ങനെ പരന്ന് കിടക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് എന്താണ്? ആകാശത്തെ നക്ഷത്രങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു ഇമേജും കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട്, അതേപോലെ ഫ്ലവേഴ്സിന്റെ ഇമേജും കിട്ടുന്നുണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, our time is going to end. Less than 1 minute is there, so we can wind up now and we can continue our class in next period. Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye, miss.
Bye.